Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back. Big news today is that version 0.16.17 was released. Of course, this is going to be kind of old news by the time you hear this, a couple days from now. But the great thing about that is the fact that splitters now have priority and filters, which is very, very cool. It opens up a lot of possibilities. For example, let's say we have this combined belt and I want to pull only stone brick off of this. I should be able to click on this. I should be able to set output priority to the right side. That's the right side in the direction of the material flow. And if I filter for stone brick, I should get only stone brick out, and I do. I don't get a full belt, unfortunately. That might be a little too powerful, but it does prevent me from having to do all kinds of funky stuff to get just one side of the belt off, like using half of an underground belt and all that other crazy weirdness that we sometimes do. So that is very cool. Especially for heavily modded games, like if you're using Angel's mods and Bob's mods, where you get a lot of byproducts from some of the processes. It makes it a lot easier just to put everything onto a belt, and then you can filter out the things that you need. The prioritization is going to help me right here. So we have this splitter where I'm getting basically half of a blue belt coming out and feeding my red circuits. And if we look down here, we can see that we're barely getting any red circuits down at the end. So now I should be able, and I haven't tried this yet, but I should be able to say output priority on the right side. And so what that's going to do is it's going to first output as much as it can on the right side, and then anything after that will go out the left side. And you can see that little yellow indicator there that shows where the prioritization is. I mean, it's hard to overstate how powerful that is and how difficult it would be to do that before this change. Yeah, I mean, you really couldn't even do that before this change. You would have to, I don't know how you could do that. Like with two belts to make sure that you get one completely full one and then all the leftovers go out the other one. I mean, maybe it's possible with some kind of strange balancer, but that is awesome. That is really awesome. As you can tell, I'm pretty pleased about that. This kind of nonsense can probably go away because of that change. You know, these high capacity extractors, or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, we don't need that. You could just put one splitter and tell it to prioritize, and you're going to get a full belt off this side, and anything that's left over will go down the other side. So that change alone is going to have some pretty huge implications, and I think it's going to be a while before we really even see all the possibilities that are opened up because of that seemingly simple change. Now, unfortunately, I still don't seem to have enough green circuits. Why don't I have enough green circuits? That goes there. That goes there. These should be the same. And this side is completely full of green circuits, and this side barely has any. And I can't understand why it should be that way. Unless this underground belt has something to do with it. It might. It looks like one side of the belt is not moving, where here both sides of the belt are moving. Oh, there it goes. Okay, what changed? Maybe I just have to look at it. Yeah, what's going on? Look, now it's... I'm only getting like half a belt. And now it's compressing really nice. Well, I don't know. It's better than it was before, at least. Still not perfect. I continue to struggle with modules. And I'm struggling with modules because I can't seem to get all the red circuits that I want over here. But I did recently, and I need to get some... No, I have lights over here. I did go over here between episodes and I put one speed module in each of these machines making speed modules. Because if we look at our modules, I have a lot of productivities, but very few speed modules. Whoops. So I'm just trying to speed up the speed module production. But I think what we're going to have to do is scale up the circuits part of the megabase, get that running, and then I'll probably just build like a separate module manufacturing facility. And in the meantime, we're just not going to have enough modules to do what we want to do. Another change that they made was the stack size of RoboPorts is now 10 instead of 5, which is a very nice improvement because they take up a lot of inventory space otherwise. So, and that was about it. The rest of the update was mostly bug fixes and stuff. Oh, I do need to update this number. We are at, let's see here, 6:15 today. Thank you all very much for your support. I appreciate that. I have this flashing green light because we passed 600. So every time we pass a new milestone, I'll make a flashing green light. In case you wonder how to do this, first of all, listen real closely. This combinator makes a noise. And I didn't notice it until just this morning. It's very quiet, but you can hear it when it's running. So anyway, if you basically all this does is I have a counter. And basically anytime green is less than 60, it outputs the input count of green. And then you loop the output back to the input. And then you just feed it a signal of 1 green to the input. Okay, so you give it a 1, it's less than 60, so it outputs a 1. Now you have the 1 that's being output from the front of the combinator, and you have the 1 that's coming in the back. So now you have 2, and then you get a 2, it adds 1 more. So basically it just adds 1 every click, or every tick, until it gets to 60, and then it goes back to 0, because once it gets to 60, it's not less than 60 anymore, and it resets. So if you watch it, you can see that it goes up to 60, and then it goes back to the beginning again. And then I just set the light to turn on anytime the green is greater than 30. So for half of a second it's on and half a second it's off, in case you ever wanted to do something like that. Okay, so our display now reads, this is our number of subs, the S, 615. And then the R is how many rockets we've launched. I brought this signal over from the counter at the rocket base. And then I put some color coding on here. So right now it's red because we're way off target. If we were to change this to 6, for example, it would be green because we would be over the target. When we get close to the target but not quite there, it's yellow, and when we're less than half, it turns red. So that's kind of a nice little panel to show us where we're at. So I've updated our to-do list. The first thing I wanted to discuss, Julie Fisher made a good comment. Thanks, Julie. She quite correctly pointed out that over here at our low density structures and also here at the rocket control units area, the way that I had this set up, if we had trains waiting in all 6 stations, then there would be no way for the output train to get up here, or the passenger train, or the refueling train. So I added a bypass. So any train that's not bringing material in is not going to go to the in station, and it can bypass the stack over here if it has to. So that way there'll always be a path for a train to get in here and take out the product, or to bring in fuel. So I put that in both stations. The other thing I wanted to do was mention there was an update to that resource labels mod. Remember, that's the one that scans all of the resource patches that are visible on the map and puts a little label on. When I showed it to you guys the first time, I was having a problem that it would identify all these little tiny patches everywhere, like this one here, 10K copper. And I ended up with lots of labels all over the place. Well, I don't know if he was watching my video. That might be a narcissistic way to think about things, but it seems as if it was updated in response to my comments, because a few days later there was an update that came out, and now you can filter the creation of the labels. Let me see if you can see it in the mod settings here. Is it on map? Yeah, resource labels. So now you can filter it. There's a minimum resource count. So I set that to 1,000,000. And then I ran it again, and now it's behaving just like I wanted it to. I only wanted to tag the patches that have a significant amount of resources, and it looks really good now. And you don't get any, like you don't get multiple labels on a single patch because there's little tiny pieces off to the side. So much better now. Also, Ben Moore said that a good mod to check out it's called YARM, Y-A-R-M. It stands for Yet Another Resource Monitor. And I checked it out, and I do like it quite a bit. So I'd like to show that to you guys. First of all, it does come with a research. So it's 100 red and green. So we'll go ahead and do that. That'll only take a moment. When you do the research, you get access to make this little instrument. And what it does is you click on your resource patch with that instrument, and it scans it, and it'll determine how much of the resource you have left, and based on how fast you're using it, it'll estimate how long it's going to last. So let me show this to you. So it's in the production tab. You only need to make one. It's not consumed at all. So you just make it one time, and then you have this little tool with you for the rest of the game. Where is it? Here we go. And I'll probably, yeah, in fact, I'll put it here on my hotbar. So what you do is, for example, here on our copper patch, you click on it, and as you can see, it scans the whole thing, and you give it a minute, and it waits for you, because I think you can click on multiple portions, multiple patches, if you want them to all be scanned together. And then up here in this menu, now we can see, it's calling this Northwest 188. We can see it's got 1.8 million copper ore. We're using minus 2609 per minute, and estimated time of depletion is 11 hours and 42 minutes. And then if you click on this vision icon, it'll center over the resource patch, and then you can change the name. So I'm going to call this copper main, and then click that again to get out of there. And now we can see that. All right, so we can do our stone patch over here as well. And then we just wait for it to add it. All right, so right now this is saying that it's never going to be depleted, and that's because I'm not using any of it. But we'll call that stone main. Oops. Oh, okay. You have to exit from there before you can move again. So that's pretty nice. And then you can hide this if you don't want it to be displaying all the time. And I'll probably leave the display turned off unless I need to check it. But that's a nice way of checking to see how much stuff we have and how long we think it's going to last. So let's go to our coal patch, our iron patch, and we could do uranium. Now oil is a little tricky because I think you have to go and click on every single oil patch to get them all added. So I'm not going to mess around with oil right now, but I would like to at least get iron and coal hooked up on this, and we'll continue to add the other ones as we progress through the game. Alright, so that's done. While we're headed over there, I wanted to show you that because I'm just running low on modules, I decided to remove the 3rd and 4th units of our iron smelting area, just so I don't have to spread my resources so thin. So I left all the track and everything in place, and then as we get more and more modules made, then I'll come in here and add them. But right now I don't need all that smelting at this moment anyway. So I'm just going to put, I have 2 here for iron. We'll set up steel, we'll lay out steel for the full capacity that we need, but I'll probably only install 1 segment of it. Same for copper. By the way, I did identify where I want to put the steel and copper, right? So these junctions are all equidistant from one another. So we've got the iron depot here, which is working great, by the way. It's almost full, actually. Of course, it's working great now because we're not doing much with it, but this is pretty much full as well. So we'll put steel here. That way iron and steel are both going to be close to the depot, and then we'll put copper over here. So that's what we'll get working on today. Alright, so let's get out of here and let's scan this with our monitor. That's a pretty big patch. This one's going to last us for quite a while, I think. Okay, and then we'll rename that. That's Iron 1. Yeah, that vision's a little noisy. Let's get that out of the way. I should really have a stacker here because I'm eventually going to have more than 1 train coming in. Well, I already have more than 1 train coming in, but I don't want them stacking up. Okay, coal is actually iron 2, so we'll head over there. Alright, so that iron patch at our current rate of consumption will last 140 hours, which is longer than this game will last, certainly. But we're going to be consuming a lot faster than that before too long. We don't need that turret anymore. I had heard a rumor that artillery shells were stacking higher, but I guess that's not true. Okay, so we'll get coal. Pick up spent drills while we're here. Okay, and that's this one. So we'll rename that to coal 2. Okay. And while we're here, we might as well get iron 2. We're not using it yet, but it won't be too long before we are. I don't think there's any way to sort these. I don't know what that plus means. That's iron 2. Maybe that's just to rescan it or add to it. I'm not sure what that's for. Yeah, I think that's to add to it if you want to add more resources to it. Okay. So that's that. Hopefully you found that interesting. So I'll go over to the depot. Actually, let me name this on the map. This is Iron Depot. It's hard for me to type when I'm recording because I have my mic sitting on the desk right in front of my keyboard. It's not in the way when I'm just using the game controls, but when I try to type, it's a little awkward. So that's why I type kind of slowly sometimes or hit wrong keys. Yeah, it would be cool if you could sort the list somehow. There doesn't seem to be any way to do it, but I'd like to be able to sort it alphabetically or by resource or something like that. Maybe there's a text file someplace with all that stuff saved, and I can do it outside of the game. All right, depot's working well. Let me grab some tracks because we're going to need that. Actually, let me grab fewer tracks. I do need some signals. I brought a bunch of logistic spots with me as well, so that we can add those in when we need to. But you can see here the active providers, or all the storage chests are full now, and the active providers are starting to fill up as well. Oh, yeah, and when my when my trash slot fills up, then or when I get stuff in my trash slot, the bots there try to take it out. Okay, so I already put in the, you know, the entrance and exit here. So this will be steel. So let's set up at least, you know, up to this point. I want to set it up the same as the Iron Depot. So what we'll do is we will make a blueprint from here all the way back to there. And then I'll get rid of the beacons and furnaces and inserters, and I just want the rail system and the power poles right now. But I'm missing that first set. But that's okay, because what I can do is I can add a single straight section. And then I can just line this up with that section like that. Yeah, I'll leave the trees. I was going to destroy those trees, but we'll leave them be. Okay, there's my lighting mistake that I get to continue to live with. It wouldn't be too hard to fix that, but I would have to get the print out of the blueprint book and then fix it and then put it back in the blueprint book, and it's not that big of a problem that I want to bother with it. Okay, so there's our stacker in the middle of the forest. Very nice. Okay, and then we should copy. Well, I guess we could even copy this first segment. And actually, I think I have that in my blueprint book. But I want to see if this one... Yeah, this one has my inserter mistake included. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that one. And I'm going to make a new blueprint. so I want to go from here over to there. So this is like one smelting unit, if you want to call it that. We'll get rid of this down here. I'm going to get rid of these curved segments. Actually, let's keep the curved segments. Let's copy all of it, including the track. No, let me try that again. All right, so I'm going to get rid of that part down there. All the rest of this is good to keep. I will get rid of that. Okay. So I think that's good. Okay, and then this will go right here. Probably should have left that there. All right, and then we need to clear out all the trees and rocks here. I'm going to be picking up a ton of wood that I'm going to have to dispose of. But that's okay. It's easy to get rid of. Yeah, and this is obviously telling me that I'm missing a lot of stuff, and that's okay because I'm gonna tear up a lot of this anyway before we go much further. Really, right now, I just want the outline of this area so that we can start to set things up. Okay, so I'm going to leave the beacons. And I should probably leave the power poles too. So I just want to remove the furnaces. I want to remove the chests of both types. Actually, maybe I don't. Actually, I think I just want to remove the inserters. Well, here, let's talk about this for a minute. All right, so we have this sort of pattern, right? That way we can hit these things with beacons from both sides. If we space them out any further, then we won't be able to hit them with beacons from two sides. So this is the basic layout. Now from steel, I want to feed one furnace into the other, because one of these is going to make iron and the other one is going to make steel. So how do we best do that? Well, we need to have first of all, we need to have get back here. Turn off my RoboPort. Okay, so we need to have provider chests for the steel, and we need requester chests for the ore. And down here, yeah, so for iron, we were using requester chests like that, and the provider chests like that. and it was like that. In this case, though, we need to put, we need to pass plates from one furnace to the other. So in this case, I think we need to do, how could we do this? So if these two made iron, now here we're not going to need stack inserters because the steel is going to take a while to produce. In fact, we can see how long it's going to take to produce over here. Crafting speed is 5.4. And the crafting time is 17.5. So 17.5 divided by 5.4. Oh no, actually it's going to be twice as fast. Because here I only have speed beacons on one side. So it'll be a speed bonus of 340% times 2. Whoops, 3.4 times 2. So the crafting speed is going to be 6.8. Or no, it's plus 340. Yeah, 2. Here I'm getting 4 beacons. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to do this in my head right now. Let's pick all this up. All right. I'm going to have to implement it so I can see what's going on. All right, so if we look at this top furnace here, and I need 2 more speed modules. Yeah, I should have just gone with my first instinct and just put in the tracks with none of the other stuff. Okay, and we won't see what we have until we power it, so let's power it up. Okay, and then put in productivity like that. Whatever. Okay, so here we can see, yeah, 370, so it's 9.4. The time is 17.5. So 17.5 divided by 9.4. So it's going to take a little bit under 2 seconds, 1.86 seconds each. So we could actually, we can use, but we need 5 iron plate in 2 seconds. We are going to need a fast inserter, I believe. Yeah, all right, so let's just use fast inserters. All right, so this is making iron. It's going to pass it to the box. We'll limit it to 1 stack, and then pick it up to make the steel. And this will do the same here. To another furnace that'll be there. Okay, so these two make iron. They come over here to make steel, and then those guys will output to the requester chest, which we can also limit to 1 stack. So this is the basic unit for steel production. 5 plates every 2 seconds. Yeah. So then do these need... I don't think these need to be stack inserters, to be honest. I think that can all be fast inserters. Because this is going to move about 6 ore per second. These are at 370. Or 9.4. So in this case, we got half a second divided by 9.4 is 0.05. I think they can probably be... No, I'll do... Okay, I'm going to do stack inserters for the iron. Alright, so stack inserters to make iron, fast inserters to get it to the steel, and then a slow inserter for the steel. And then this is going to be the unit that we duplicate, and we'll do it in the same shape that we had for the iron, you know, to minimize the bot travel. So that's how we're going to set up steel. Now, according to Factorio calculator, I am going to need 301 electric furnaces making steel. So even though over here, you know, even though we have 60 furnaces in a unit, in this case, only half of them are actually making steel. The other half are making iron plate. So I'm actually going to need 300. So if I figure 30 per unit making steel, I'm going to need 10 of these units. That's a heck of a lot. 10. Okay, this is 4. 10 seems like an awful lot. I wonder if there's a calculation going wrong someplace. Well, I'm going to double check it. We're already out of time. I'm going to double check my numbers. 10 does seem like more than I was expecting, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong. If that's the case, then I'll probably I'll probably do like 5 here and then 5 here. Just so the trains don't have to travel. Like, I mean, we would probably have to start filling in this lake to fit in 10 of these production units for steel. So I think we'll do that. We'll do 5 and 5. We'll do another steel outpost over here. And then how do we balance those? It would have to be called steel 1 and steel 2, and then I would just have to have, yeah, see, then I would need a steel depot. What I could do is, coming out of the stacker, we could have the stacker here, we could have one set going up here, and then we can have another set over here as a mirror image. So we have 5 there, 5 there. They all go through the same stacker. They come up here, they either go left or they go right, and then the exit I'll just have to bring over here to the east a little bit more and then swing it around the outside. We'll do that. That way it won't take up such a huge area. So that'll be steel. Let's get rid of that. I will start to work on setting this up in between episodes. I'll get the first unit set up and I'll start to lay out the track you know, the train rail for the rest of it, on copper as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it as always. Any questions or comments, please let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.